Grace's story begins one night, sitting on the stairs of a building, blood-soaked, smoking a cigarette. Police surrounded her. A stampede had broken out, and the entire Ledimus family inside had been wiped out. A police officer approached Grace and asked, "Are you okay? What happened?" Grace could only say, "Family." She collapsed on the stairs, unconscious. She was rushed to the hospital, surrounded by doctors and police. At one point, she stopped breathing, and everyone thought she would die. But during this unconscious state, memories of what she had done to the Ledimus family began to flash through her mind. Perhaps because of those memories, she suddenly regained consciousness, and it was revealed that the doctors had actually saved her life. A day or two later, a police officer came to her and told her that she was going to jail for a very long time. "The Dedmos family has been murdered, and you were the last person to meet them, and their blood is on your clothes." The situation is tense. Grace's younger sister, Faith, arrives. 7 years later, they're facing each other. Grace had left her sister earlier, but she still had Faith's number saved as her emergency contact number. That's why the police called Faith. Seeing Chris's condition, Faith taunts him, "You left me to move on. Now, look where you are and where I am. I'm in New York. I'm a social media worker now. I have my own apartment, and my fiancé works in finance. We have a settled life. But look at yourself, what happened to you? You married Alex, didn't you? And as far as I remember, he was very rich." Grace replies, "If I tell you, you won't believe me." Faith said, "Okay, then I'll leave." Grace interrupted her and began to explain everything. She told her that when she married Alex, his family didn't come to the wedding. Then, some time later, he took her to meet his family. There, the family asked her to choose a card. It was a game of high-end secretary. I, too, thought it would be a simple game, but in reality, it was a game of death. It was either me or his entire family, and then I wiped out their entire family. The story shifts from here to another location, and a powerful man, Chest, is shown. He was watching the news on his large TV, where a war was going on. He simply made a call and said, "Cease fire." And the next minute, news of the ceasefire started playing. This was enough to indicate that this man was extremely powerful, and the world danced to his tune. At this moment, one of his lawyers comes to him with a thick book and tells him that the Ledomes family is gone, but their daughter, Grace, has survived. Hearing this, he becomes excited. He immediately sends a message to his secret group, announcing that the Ledomes family is gone, Grace is saved, and the game will begin soon. This message reaches different families in different countries, and everyone who reads it becomes extremely excited. Here, we learn that all these people were part of a dark council, and all the members of the group were extremely wealthy. The world's wealthiest families were part of this dark council. In simple words, it was part of a cult. We now learn that Just has 2 children, Titais and Ursela. Los informs him that there will be a new game, and they must win the high seat. The high seat was the position that led the entire council. This special ring was always given to the high seat. Jester says, "This ring should remain with our family. You both play and win." After saying this, he lies down on his bed, and then his 2 children suffocate him with a pillow, killing him. The reason for this will be revealed later. At the hospital, a police officer takes Grace for interrogation. But on the way, the same officer is suddenly attacked by a group of men with knives. It's revealed that the attackers were members of the Dark Council families. As soon as Grace saw him, she took her sister and hid. She knew he was there to kill her. She wanted to escape with Faith at the first opportunity, but the man appeared and attacked them both. He was about to kill Grace, but suddenly he exploded because he had broken the rules of the game. Killing Grace before the game began was not allowed, so she was punished for her death. Faith was shaken by this. This was the first time she had ever seen him. He was starting to believe Grace's words. Grace quickly went to the policeman, took the key, and unlocked her handcuffs. Then, she put her blood-stained clothes back on. As they left, they encountered 2 men holding smoke grenades filled with poisonous gas. This caused them to faint, and they took them away. The scene then shifted, and we were shown a large, luxury hotel. This hotel belonged to the Danforth family. It had a casino, a club, and everything else, and the upcoming game was also going to take place there. Titus ordered the hotel to be evacuated. 3 large cars arrived, and 3 families arrived. With the arrival of the guests, preparations began for the game to begin, and we were shown that Grace and Faith were being tied up by the men. Legis then said, "Call the Chest, let's start the game." Just then, Vasella announced that Chest had died this morning, and now Auditus would play in his place. War arrived with a thick book. He explained the rules of the game. The Dumas family is gone, and the only remaining member of their family is Grace, and the next round will be played with her. The winner will receive the ring and become the leader of the high seat. Grace flatly refuses to play. Then, Lauer threatens her with killing her sister, Faith. To save her sister, she agrees. At this moment, Francesca enters, revealing that she deeply hates Grace. She was originally supposed to marry Alex, but Alex left her for Grace. And she was going to vent this hatred on Grace today in this game. Then, the men again injected Grace and Faith with anesthesia. Then, the lawyer gave them all a strange pen, which they filled with their blood and signed in his book. It turned out that Grace and Faith had been sedated to hide them, and the game was for the families to find them. The first one to find and kill Grace would be the winner and leader. When Grace and Faith regained consciousness, they saw that they were both handcuffed. Grace quickly picked up her sister and told her to run away as fast as possible. But Faith stopped them, saying, "What's the point of running? They're waiting for us. They'll find us and kill us any minute. We should talk to them." At that moment, they were distracted by a drone. They looked up and saw a girl listening to their conversation through the drone, which had a microphone attached to it. She then spoke to them from the drone, saying, "Stopping all this isn't easy. But yes, I can help you stop it. But the condition is that if you support me," then before she can say anything else, Selah spots the drone and shoots it. Grace takes her sister and heads into the forest. She wanted to cross the forest and save her and her sister's lives. But she discovers that this forest is also surrounded by huge walls, making escape impossible. They're unsure whether they should return to the hotel or stay there. While they're contemplating, Selah spots them and comes close. Chris takes her sister and hides behind some wood to save her. But then Titus arrives and spots them. Faith sees him too, and begins to tremble with fear. As Titus attacks her, Grace immediately leaps forward to save her sister, taking the blow upon herself. Enraged, Titus knocks Grace down and begins strangling her. At this point, Faith attacks Titus to save her sister. They both beat him up, knocking him down, and then escape together. As they emerge from the forest, they spot a building. Faith suggests they can escape through this building. At this point, only they know that a sniper is standing over them in the distance. He fires at them, aiming to kill them, but misses. Hearing the gunfire, they both run for their lives, and bullets chase them one after another. Luckily, not a single one grazes them, and they both take cover. While in cover, Faith spots a cylinder lying nearby, along with strange objects. She places the cylinder where they were standing and sets everything else on fire. Smoke spreads. The sniper can't see clearly. He thinks the cylinder is there, thinking either Faith or Grace is there. So he fires at it. The bullet hits the cylinder, causing a powerful explosion. But fortunately, both of them survive. However, Grace's hand was injured in the fall. They quickly go inside the building. Faith bandages her sister's wound, when Viraj, who belonged to an Indian family, arrives. Seeing him, they quickly hide and manage to escape after injuring him. But Viraj had also gotten wind of their presence there, so he was after them. They found a machine at the location. Using that machine, they cut through their handcuffs, and Viraj hears the sound of the action. He finally finds them, and before he can do anything to apprehend them, they attack her and beat her up, but even then they don't stop. They throw her into the washing machine, and Grace turns it on as well. She eventually dies after being spun around in the machine. Grace quickly retrieves her phone and calls the police. After receiving the call, she informs them of everything that's happening. But a twist later turns out to be that the call wasn't made to the police at all, and that Say had hacked the entire system, and the call went to her. Selaha, pretending to be a policewoman, told Grace, "I'm coming with a team. You guys should come to the gate." The two were running towards the main gate. But on the way, another girl appeared in front of them, brandishing a sword. She said, "I don't want to kill you. I want to make a deal with you." She told Gree, "Marry my son, and then no one will kill you." Gree asked, "What does marrying me have to do with your treatment?" Kwon replied, "Once you marry my son, you'll become a part of my family. You'll become ours, and that way I'll become the leader, and you'll be saved. It'll be a win-win situation." Grace asked, "Then what will happen after all this? Will all this stop?" Kwon replied, "No, it won't stop. It'll continue, and you'll have to keep sacrificing people and playing games with them." Chris adamantly refused, "I'll never do this. I'll sacrifice people." While they were still talking, Lagos arrived and opened fire on Chris. Kwon, trying to reach Grace, drew her sword and asked her, "Quick, tell me, yes or no." Grace was unable to respond. Meanwhile, Kaun tried every means to protect Grace, but her sword accidentally struck the man from the other family who was firing. Unintentionally, she had killed a member of the other family, and according to the rules, killing a member of one family is punishable by death. Consequently, she exploded on the spot. As Kaun left, her son, Kufu, also died, and all the family members were killed. It was a rule of the game that if a leader of a house died, everyone in that house was killed. By this time, Grace and Faith were also heavily injured. Faith heard a call and ran towards the gate. Sela and Titais were waiting outside the gate. Grace called out, saying, "We near the gate." As they went to check, Grace came up from behind and snatched Yusela's gun. Then they both asked, "What's the gate's pin code?" He wouldn't have given it to them so easily. But when Grace threatened to kill him, he did, because Titus was terrified. They were about to cross the gate when Aurelia and Titus attacked them from behind. Faith somehow managed to free herself and tried to escape. But Aurelia grabbed Grace, and Faith stayed put. Although she had the chance to escape the gate, she couldn't bear to let go of her sister. And Selah, who had already tried to kill Grace by knocking her down, saved her sister. Faith came running and attacked Selah from behind, saving her sister. Putting her wounded sister in a trunk, she tried to escape. Meanwhile, Francesca, who already hated Grace, also she decided to go into the fray and kill Grace directly. While she was searching for Grace, Faith had brought Grace to a room, wanting emergency treatment. Faith, with great courage, removed the object that was stuck in her body. Writhing in pain, Grace screamed at Faith, saying, "You had such a great opportunity to escape. Why didn't you run? You have a life. You were happy in it. Why did you get involved in all this for? Me?" Their argument escalated to the point where Faith finally left Chris. As Faith tried to get up, grabbing some pants, Francesca appeared in front of her. She was holding a missile launcher, which she had brought to use on Chris. But perhaps this was her first time using it, which is why she failed the first launch. Now, since the missile launcher didn't work, she tried to attack him with her hand. But Grace picks up a spray bottle lying nearby and sprays it in his eyes. Francisca snatches it from her hand and sprays it in his eyes, blinding them both. They then try to kill each other, even though they couldn't see straight. A little while later, when Francisca's brain recovered, she severely beat Grace. She was about to kill her when Grace's brain also recovered. She mustered all her courage and began to attack Francisca again. This courage came from Grace, a courage she used to save her own life. She beat Francisca so hard that she fainted. Faith was returning to her sister when Titus caught up with her. He couldn't reach Grace, so he took out his anger on Faith. Faith, blinded by the excessive beating, went into a frenzy. Thankfully, Ursula arrived and stopped her brother. he explained to Titus that by holding faith, Grace could be summoned. Meanwhile, Grace was searching for her sister when Titus' voice came over the radio. "I have your sister in my custody. If you want to see her safe, come inside." Grace first broke open a locker and took a shortcut back inside. On a crate, she found Francesca, who was about to attack her again. Grace shot her dead on the spot. Going inside, she asked Jamie, "Tell me, what's my sister?" Before he could explain, his other companion arrived with a gun, and Grace began firing relentlessly. Chris, desperate for her life, ran into another room and locked herself inside. Just then, Titus brought Faith and said, "Hold yourself over to us and take your sister home." At that moment, Grace thought of a plan. She told Titus, "If you marry me, you'll get everything you want. I won't have to meet you, and I'll become a part of your family." Lauer said, "That's possible." Titus said, "Okay, I agree." Thus, Priya's life was saved and she was reunited with her sister. Titus took her to his room. Some people began dressing Priya's like a bride, and after that, she was taken downstairs to a bunker where they performed their dark rituals. Lauer began to perform the wedding. Just then, a door opened from below, and the two threw their blood inside the door and signed the book with their own blood. They exchanged rings, and Titus was undoubtedly victorious. He received the special ring that belongs to the owner of the high seat. Meaning, he had now ascended to the high seat. But then, as soon as Grace got the chance, she attacked Titus, her own husband, and killed him. Taking back the ring, she killed him. She threw Titus into the pit, the same pit where she had previously spilled her blood, and then put on the ring. Thus, she had become the leader of them all. She had now learned the importance of this ring. By wearing it, she also understood that everyone would dance to her tune. So she ordered everyone to bow down before her, and they all did, because now whatever she wanted would happen. After all this, Grace told everyone, "I am resigning myself from this seat." The lawyer remained silent, because what Grace was saying wasn't against the rules. Grace took off the ring and threw it into the cauldron. Everyone in the room jumped into the cauldron to get the color. They started fighting each other to find and get the ring. And now, all these people were after Grace. Grace was completely forgotten, and thus, Grace was free. She could have escaped with her sister. Just as they were about to leave, the bodies of everyone inside the pit suddenly exploded, because they were breaking the rules by killing each other. With the deaths of all these families, this cult of dark rituals also ended, and Grace achieved a great victory. She had not only saved her life but also saved the lives of many others who would fall into their trap in the future. After this, she was happy with her sister, the sister she had found after years. They decided to start a new life together. And thus, the movie ends with them together.